Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's good YouTube? It's your boy Tank be chopping and I'm back with another haircut tutorial. Alright guys, what we gonna be doing on this cut is a mid fade. We are gonna trim the top slightly. As you can see, my client does comb his hair over, and on this side right here that you see me combing right now, he kind of keeps it disconnected, but I'm gonna connect it a little bit, not too much. I don't want to leave too much of a harsh disconnection, so I'm gonna fade it in slightly. But y'all know how your boy does it. Y'all know I like to start off cutting the top of my client's hair first. So I'm setting in my initial guideline coming forward, and I'm taking off about 1/4 of an inch or so, and I'm doing this moving all the way forward to the fringe area. And now that initial guideline is set in, I'm gonna set in my sections coming the opposite way. However, I'm still moving forward, and as you can see, I'm sectioning the hair and I'm bringing up a little bit of hair each time, and everything that's longer than that initial guideline that I set in, I'm making sure to cut off. And I decided to do this way because I feel that this way is a little easier on the eyes. It's easier to see, and it's easier to understand exactly what you're doing. So, you know, I've been doing a couple shear cuts on my YouTube channel, and I haven't really done a cut where I was sectioning it off like this, you know, section by section, and then taking off the amount that I needed to. So I feel when I do it this way, you can actually see where my guideline is at and how much hair I need to take off. And once again, guys, we're gonna do this until we get to the fringe area. And we are gonna leave the front a little longer, not too much, but just a little bit. And then now I'm just gonna do this and use those guidelines that I set in. I'm gonna use this all throughout my client's head on top, or my client's hair on top. Make sure that it's all down to that desired length. And as you can see, each section of hair that I pull up, you can see the hair that's longer than the shorter hair. So everything that's longer, you want to make sure to cut down. Now I do want to state that even though I said this is my client, technically he's actually my boy Joe's client. He came in, Joe had one of his sons, and I was like, you know what, I got some time. He's like, Tank, you feel like cutting? I said, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna get you, man. You know, I normally don't cut, you know what I'm saying, if you just walk in, but he's been a long time shop client. I had some time. I was actually just gonna go home, and I said, you know what, I need to get some content, so let's go ahead and do this. And then now I'm just checking the front of my client's hair. And as you can see, I am using my SnapFX. I have my number 4 guard on my clipper, and I'm using this number 4 just to debulk the sides of my client's head. And I'm gonna do this all the way around. And remember guys, you wanna make sure that you're kind of floating that clipper towards that parietal ridge area. That way you don't leave too much of a round shape. We wanna leave a squared shape when we do this fade. So as y'all can see, I got my trimmers in my hand right now. These are my SnapFX trimmers, and I'm setting in my initial bald guideline. Now, even though I said we are doing a mid fade, I'm gonna give myself some room because I haven't cut this client's hair in a really long time. Like I said, he's not my normal client, so I haven't cut his hair in a good minute. So I wanted to give myself enough room. That way I can basically give myself room for error, and if I need to, I can stretch this blend or I can raise it up if needed. So now that bald guideline is there, I'm gonna go in with my FX3 shaver, and the closer I get to that bald line, I'm making sure that I'm relieving some pressure, and I'm using a slight flick out motion. That way it doesn't leave too harsh of a line. And once again guys, I'm doing this all around my client's head. And the reason why we're doing this razor is we want to get this haircut as close to skin as possible. Alright, so now we're actually gonna jump into some fade work. I'm going in with my clipper with my lever all the way open, and I'm gonna set in my next guideline, and I'm gonna come up about 3/4 of an inch or so using a slight flick out motion towards the top of this section. And then once this section is set in, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start to fade it down, meaning I'm gonna close my lever halfway, and I'm gonna come halfway into the section, and then I'm gonna close my lever another notch, come a little lower, and then close it all the way and attack that bottom line. And if that doesn't get the bottom line out completely, guys, that's totally fine. I can always come back in later with my trimmer and clean that up if needed. But as y'all can see, I'm being a little careful when I'm doing this part. And the reason why, once again, guys, not my normal client. This is my first time cutting his hair in a long time. So I wanted to make sure that I was being really efficient and just being real consistent with what I was doing. So you're gonna see me going over the same areas a good amount of time, but he did have some dark areas, some areas that were a little more denser than others. So I just wanted to make sure that I made all of it look nice and even. And then as y'all can see, I have a brush in my hand, and that brush is to brush away any extra debris. That way I can actually clear out that extra hair and actually see what's going on. So now my next step is my number 1 guard on my clipper, lever all the way open, making this a 1.5, and I'm coming up another section, basically doing the same thing I did, using a slight flick out motion towards the top of this section. And then I'm gonna close my lever all the way and attack the bottom line of this section. And this may or may not get this line completely out. And if it doesn't, once again, guys, that's fine. I can always go back in with my 0 guard or my 1/16 guard and get that line completely out. And as y'all can see, that's what I'm doing here. I'm going in with my lever halfway open, and I'm just flicking at that line, tapping at that line, seeing what it does, and then just adjusting my lever as needed. If I need to open my lever, I'll open it, and if I need to close it, I'll close it. But you don't want to go all the way up to where that top line is at. If you do, you're gonna raise the fade and you're gonna have to do more work. So we're trying to steer away from doing that. We're trying to make this as easy as possible, but at the same time make it as clean as possible. So we are gonna have to go over some areas a good amount of time. As y'all can see, he's a little more dense towards the back of the fade area, so I gotta make sure I detail that a little more before I move on. Now this is my 1.5 guard, lever open. And as y'all can see, I'm starting to use more of a flick out motion. And the reason why I'm doing this is I don't want to leave a harsh line. I don't want to make it harder for me to fade in. I really want to make this hair fade into that top without having to go through all my steps if it is needed. And if it is needed, fine, it's perfectly fine. I'll go in with my other guards. But once again, guys, I started with my 1.5 guard, lever open, and then I closed my lever and I'm working my way down, meaning I'm not coming as high as I did with my lever all the way open. And as y'all can see, it's kind of blending in together, right? But I still have to make sure that I fade all this in with my other guards. So this is my number 4 guard once again, guys. And this is what I like to call sandwiching the blend. I talked about it in one of my previous videos, and basically it just means that I fade up slightly in my fade and then I start fading, working my way down. So I went in, I faded up to my 1.5, and then I went in with my 4, and now this is my 3. Lever open, then lever close, just trying to get rid of these dark areas in the top of this fade area. And then I'm gonna go in with my 2 after this. And same thing here, guys, lever open and then lever close, and adjusting that lever as needed to get this blend to come together. And then this is my 1.5 guard. And even though I already did my 1.5 guard, I'm still making sure that I go over it again just to make sure I clean all that up. And as y'all can see, there is some discrepancies in the blend. There is some dark areas, some places that need work. So I'm going back in and I'm gonna redo whatever steps that I feel is necessary. So this is my 1 guard, lever open. And as you can see me right there, I did close my lever right there. And I am using corner blending. And the reason why I'm using corner blending is I don't want to take my 1, lay it flat on my client's head and go up too high and have to really raise this fade. So if you use corner blending, it'll help. Corner blending is a good detailing technique, and it doesn't get the hair too short. So after I did that 1, then I went to my 0 guard, and now I'm going in with my lever all the way open, just adjusting my lever as needed, using some slight lever play. And as y'all can see, once again, guys, I'm doing my corner blending techniques, just tapping at these dark areas, flicking at these dark areas, just doing what I gotta do to erase these dark spots in the fade. And then how I told y'all earlier, if that bottom line didn't come completely out, I was gonna go back in with my trimmer, and that's what I'm doing now to get this bottom line out. And you wanna try not to leave any lines after that, but if you do, you can always go back in and detail some more. But nonetheless, guys, moving on to the edge up, I like to start off in the middle of my client's head, setting my initial guideline, and now I'm working my way over to the vertical bar. We're gonna hit this vertical bar, then we're gonna hit this C cup, and then after that, what we're gonna do is we can actually go back and detail this haircut a little more. Now, it may or may not be needed, But I like to do it because when I take my eyes off of the blend for a little bit and do the edge up, and then I come back to the blend, I actually see some discrepancies. I actually see some things that I want to clean up just to take this blend to the next level. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know how your boy does it. Y'all know I like to take my haircuts to the next level and really give my clients a good haircut. So excuse me. So when I line up my client first and then come back in and detail, I just feel that it helps give me a better look of what I'm trying to achieve. So now that the left side is done, we're gonna be doing the same exact thing to the right side of my client's head. I'm going in with my lever all the way open, and then as y'all can see me right here, I adjusted my lever closed, and then I'm gonna adjust my lever notch by notch, working my way down to that bottom guideline. And sometimes on different sides of the haircuts, guys, these fades just blend easier. Sometimes they blend harder, and I can't tell you like, oh, this side is gonna fade easier than the opposite side just by looking. Sometimes you just gotta jump in and just see what the hair does, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes it just blends easier for whatever reason. It may be thinner on one side, it may have a different growth pattern. It just, you know, it may be less dense. So there's a lot of different things, a lot of different variables that may cause it to be easier to fade, but you just take it how it comes, you know what I'm saying? If it's easier, cool, and if it's not, you just gotta trust the process, do your steps, go in detail as needed, and try to do your best to make sure that your client comes out that chair looking good. And once again, guys, I do want to state that I'm doing the same exact steps that I did on the left side to the right side. I'm only working up to that 4. I know a lot of people always ask me, do I switch things up a lot? Really, I don't. I work up to a 4. Anything longer than a 4, sometimes I'll do shear over comb, sometimes clipper over comb. You know what I'm saying? It just depends. But on this actual haircut, what I did was I did the same exact thing. I faded up to my 1.5 clipper open and then closed, and then I put my number 4 guard and then worked my way down. And I did what I said earlier, guys. I basically sandwiched that blend together, meaning I faded up and then I started fading down to make the blend come together. And as y'all can see now, I'm just doing some detail work, trying to clean up these dark areas, just trying to make this blend look good. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this, what I call sandwiching the blend, you know what I'm saying? Someone asked me about it in my last video, what does that mean or whatnot. But y'all let me know if y'all heard that before, or if that's a new term to y'all. And if it is, you know, let me know. Or if you've heard it called something else, let me know. I think I actually heard that term from Sean Cuts Hair at one of his classes. I'm not 100% sure, but I think that's who I heard it from. But now what I'm doing, guys, is I'm working on the opposite of my client's lineup. So I'm just starting basically where I left off on the opposite side, starting in the middle, working my way over to this side of the haircut. We're gonna hit that vertical bar, hit that C cup. Just try to get everything as sharp as possible. I know a lot of people like their trimmers super sharp. I don't need mine super zero gap because I'm gonna go over these lines with the razor anyways. So it is what it is. But now what I'm doing here is I'm just applying some pomade to my client's hair just so I can actually see more of a finished product before I decide if it's finished or not. And like I said, we are combing it over, as y'all can see. You know, it looks pretty good to me, so now I'm gonna go ahead and put the razor on my client. And when you're putting the razor on, guys, you wanna make sure that you stretch that skin, lay that razor as flat as you can, and basically just go straight to that line. And then, you know what I'm saying, just keep doing that. Get as good as you can with the razor. I feel that razor work goes a long way, and I feel that it really makes haircuts pop a lot more. And just if y'all were wondering, we did not add any enhancements on this client. We just did the haircut, and as y'all can see, the blend looks good, you know what I'm saying? The lineup looks good. I don't feel that he needed enhancements, but if I would have done them, I felt like it would have took the haircut to the next level. But nonetheless, guys, I think this is a good haircut. Y'all let me know what y'all think about it. But all right, guys, check it out. This is how my boy came into the shop looking. This is the before look, and this is the after. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this haircut in the comment section. If y'all like this video, please make sure to smash that like button. Also, if new to my channel, make sure and subscribe one time for your boy. Remember, guys, if you're in the Houston, Texas area and you want a haircut from your boy, you can go to my website, tankbechopping.com. You can book on there. If you want it to be for YouTube, make sure to put that in the comment section. Make sure you follow me on Instagram and on TikTok. And that's basically it, YouTube. I appreciate y'all for watching. Until next time, let's go.